We begin here in Japan, where concerns are rising about the dangers posed by variants of the coronavirus. The head of the government's expert panel is calling for a concerted effort to prevent a surge in new cases.
Variants have already started replacing the original strain in some prefectures. We should assume that sooner or later, variants will become the main source of infection.
Japan's first infection caused by a variant was confirmed late last year, but the monthly figure has been steadily rising. On Wednesday alone, Osaka officials confirmed 50 people had been infected by the variant first identified in the UK. Experts estimate the variant to be up to 70% more contagious than the original strain. The head of the Japan Medical Association says variants could be why the rate of declining cases has slowed in recent weeks.
The percentage of cases involving variants is rising fast in areas where more tests are being conducted. It is expected it would be similar if we do more screening across the country.
One concern is whether currently available vaccines are effective against variants. The World Health Organization says there's no significant impact on the effectiveness of the Pfizer, Moderna, and AstraZeneca vaccines against the British coronavirus variant. But there are concerns the vaccines may be less effective against variants first detected in South Africa and Brazil. Health authorities confirmed over 1,300 new cases across Japan on Wednesday. More than half of them were in the Tokyo area, which remains under a state of emergency. Myanmar's military is stepping up pressure on domestic media. Offices in the largest city of Yangon were reportedly raided this week. Some executives have been detained and several media licenses were revoked. Security forces broke into the office of online media Myanmar Now on Monday and seized data servers and computers. The editor-in-chief says the employees were out of the office.
About 100 police and soldiers came to our office. Actually, they don't need that manpower. They just want to show, actually, to our staff and also other media workers, this is the kind of force we will use against you. You know, if you resist against us.
The military announced on Monday it had stripped licenses from 5 local outlets. Some media issued statements saying they would continue to fight against the coup and for the restoration of democracy. A local human rights NGO says at least 35 journalists have been arrested since the coup on February 1st, and almost half of them are still in custody. Japan's nuclear regulators have compiled a report on the 2011 accident at the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear plant. It says contamination is much higher than expected and could affect decommissioning work at the plant. The Nuclear Regulation Authority cites new findings that indicate about 10% of the radioactive substances inside the 3 affected reactors may be stuck on concrete lids in the upper parts of the number 2 and number 3 reactor buildings. The authority says if the lids have to be removed as part of the decommissioning process, it'll be extremely difficult for humans to work safely near the reactors. It added it'll discuss how to best proceed with the plant's operator, Tokyo Electric Power Company. The authority also conducted its first detailed analysis of the hydrogen explosions. It found at the number 3 reactor, the first blast was very likely followed by a series of detonations triggered by flammable gases other than hydrogen. A United Nations panel says radiation exposure from the nuclear accident in Fukushima is unlikely to raise cancer rates, confirming its previous findings. The UN Scientific Committee on the Effects of Atomic Radiation released a report about the issue on Tuesday. It says future health effects such as cancer directly related to radiation exposure are unlikely to be discernible. The report also addresses the rise in thyroid cancer cases observed among children after the disaster. It says the trend was due to ultra-sensitive screening procedures. It found cancer cases are unlikely to rise among workers decommissioning the crippled nuclear plant as well. The panel says its analysis is based on data collected through 2019 and largely confirms what it concluded in an earlier report from 2013. Meanwhile, the International Atomic Energy Agency has reiterated its support of Japan's efforts to handle the aftermath of the accident. IAEA Director General Rafael Grossi made the comments Tuesday in a video message. He referred to the issue of disposing contaminated water.
Today, we are helping tackle the ongoing challenge of the water.
Now, Japan's government has not yet decided how to deal with the wastewater accumulating at the plant. It contains tritium and other radioactive substances. A musical band from a U.S. airbase in Tokyo has held a concert to pray for the recovery of the affected areas. The performance took place Wednesday at Sendai Airport in Miyagi Prefecture. The airport was the base of joint U.S.-Japan rescue operations known as Operation Tomodachi. U.S. Air Force and Marine Corps troops based in Japan cooperated with the country's self-defense forces. The U.S. Air Force Band of the Pacific belongs to the Yokota Air Base in Tokyo. It's been visiting coastal areas of Miyagi and Iwate prefectures ahead of the disaster's 10th anniversary.
I'm so grateful that Operation Tomodachi continues even now.
I wish the music could also have reached those who were lost, and over 1,200 people who are still missing in Miyagi Prefecture.
I think it's incredibly important for us to be here as representatives of the U.S. military and the Air Force, showing the Tomodachi, the friendship and the strength that we have between the United States and Japan.
The 5 band members performed 8 songs, including Hanawa Saku, or Flowers Will Bloom, dedicated to encouraging rebuilding efforts. Shifting now to Taiwan, where a special exhibition has opened celebrating ties with northeastern Japan. It includes messages of gratitude for the support people in Taiwan offer to survivors. Illustrations of appreciation by more than 80 Japanese manga artists are part of the exhibition at a cultural facility in Taipei. One message reads, "May the friendship last forever." Handwritten editions of a local newspaper from the disaster area are also on display. They were hung at evacuation shelters to give people essential information. At the opening ceremony, a representative from Japan spoke about how a team from Taiwan took part in the rescue effort.
People in Taiwan came to help us when everyone wanted to run away. We were very moved by the support we received.
He added donations from Taiwan worth more than $180 million were given to survivors. Taiwan's foreign minister expressed hope the friendship will endure.
We have helped each other over the past 10 years. I believe that we will continue to care for each other and be good partners in the decades to come.
The event continues through March 21st. People in Tokyo are marking 76 years since the massive U.S. air raid on the city during World War II. About 100,000 lives were lost in the attack. About 50 people, including survivors and relatives of victims, offered a silent prayer during Wednesday's scaled-down ceremony. In the early hours of March 10, 1945, B-29 bombers ravaged the capital, reducing much of the city to ruins. 90-year-old Takahashi Masao was a junior high school student at the time.
When the air raid warning was finally lifted after dawn, I went to see my house. All I could see was smoke. It was a horrible scene.
87-year-old Ebina Kayoko lost 6 family members in the attack, including her parents. Since then, she's paid tribute to the victims by helping build a memorial and publishing a book based on her experiences. And on Monday, Ebina received a letter from a top U.S. embassy official thanking her for her efforts.
I will share this letter with people, and for as long as I am alive, I will talk about why war should never be waged again. This is my mission.
The U.S. Embassy told NHK the letter was written in the spirit of friendship between the countries. A federation of private kindergartens here in Japan says millions of dollars went missing during a 4-year period. The revelation came to light after an audit last September. The federation revealed Tuesday more than $3.6 million was unaccounted for between the fiscal years of 2017 and 2020. Kagawa Kei, who was in charge of the federation during that period, has taken responsibility. He resigned in November, but maintains he never misused any of the funds. But some of his colleagues doubt that claim, accusing him of illegally forging bank book entries. The federation is now considering filing a criminal complaint or a civil suit against Kagawa. 2 other associations affiliated with the federation have also reported accounting irregularities. Next in weather, a potent storm is battering northwestern Europe with powerful winds, heavy rain, and large hail. Our meteorologist Jonathan O has the details for there and elsewhere in our World Weather Report.
Hello, it's been a windy type of pattern for northern and southern areas of Europe. While we have a system coming in from the north and the west, already a system down to the south bringing winds that are pretty strong, along with the rain falling from 60 to 100 millimeters of rainfall. And that's pushing toward the east, and so that's going to be the story for the Balkan Peninsula as that low pressure system moves through. But look at this, up to the north and west, we have a cold front with the system rolling through, and the strong winds will be a big part of the story, so be on the lookout for that. We are looking at snow, possibly even into portions of the Balkan Peninsula, so be on the lookout as that system rolls through. Eventually, it will move its way into Turkey, and that's going to be the story by the time we go into Thursday. But look at this, rain from London to Paris with thunderstorms into Berlin as that front really pushes through, snow into Stockholm, and down toward the south again, we'll see that low pushing eastward, Istanbul looking at some rain as we go through Thursday. Meanwhile, we've been talking about strong winds here in Japan as well, as we saw gusts up to 82 kilometers per hour reported in Fukushima, and over in Sapporo, 97 kilometers per hour on Wednesday. The winds are going to calm down. The reason why is because the interaction that happened between the high pressure system that's moving in and the low pressure system that is moving out of the area really changing as we go into Thursday. So we are looking at a relatively calm pattern that's going to be the big part of the story. And notice even the wind markers here, you can tell the high pressure system that's really dominant in the forecast here.
A 13th generation potter who lived near Fukushima returns home 10 years after the earthquake disaster in Japan. Some members of Myanmar's police fled to India after refusing orders to shoot protesters. The governor of Alaska makes the U.S. state the first to permit COVID-19 vaccinations for anyone over the age of 16. And at least 39 migrants drowned when 2 boats sank off the coast of Tunisia Tuesday as they tried to reach Italy.
U.S. lawmakers have approved a $1.9 trillion coronavirus stimulus package that will fund vaccines, schools, small businesses and anti-poverty programs. President Biden is expected to sign it into law on Friday. Burmese police who fled across the border to India have told the BBC they left after refusing to follow the orders of the military. They said they'd been told by senior officers to shoot protesters. The former Brazilian president, Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, has launched a scathing attack on the current government in his first speech since his corruption conviction was overturned. Lula branded President Jair Bolsonaro an imbecile for his mishandling of the pandemic. And the British broadcaster Piers Morgan says he stands by his criticism of Meghan Markle. He quit his breakfast show on Tuesday after thousands of complaints.